Good evening, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Welcome to another Learning Live with our team at the Paper Crafters Workshop. This is Sherry, and on camera for you is Crafty Kris. And look at that gorgeous rainbow that she has in front of her. Tonight, she's going to be talking about the new Lisa Horton metallic inks. I'm sure she'll get into the breakdown of everything she's got on there, but if I'm looking at it properly, the top three are the ones that we had before Christmas, and the bottom ones are the brand new release. And Kris was the very lucky student who got to take a class with Lisa Horton herself. Was it only a couple weeks ago, and she's got some great tips and tricks and just some introductory information to share with all of you. So I'm going to hand over to Kris, and I'll be manning the comments. We've got some hellos. Hello, Shelly. Hello, friends who are joining us. Kris, I'm going to let you take it away and share all your stuff.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. This is my new collection of metallic inks. Now, had you asked me if I'd ever have this many metallic inks in my own stash, and these are literally my own inks, I would have said probably not, because it wasn't something that was on my radar. And I have plenty of sprays and all kinds of different sparkly things that I can make things glitter and glitz. So it wasn't really on my radar. But when Sherry came and asked if I'd like to try the metallics and work with Lisa, I thought, you know what, let me try something new. And that's what it's all about, is trying something new. Well, I took a class with these two colors, and then a week later they had babies and grew into all of these colors and the special limited edition metallics that came out around Christmas time. It was a big surprise to me, so I just want to tell you that I'm loving it. And I want to share with you not only my love of what's going on here, but a little bit of a difference, because my thought was initially, why do I need a metallic ink when there are interference inks? And I found out that these two babies are totally different things, and they do different stuff. And so I did a little play, and I'll show you some of my samples of the difference between the inks. If you're on the fence as to why do you need another shimmery ink, this will help you make that decision. So yes, this is my vast collection of inks, which I have very quickly put together on a sample sheet. Oh, look at all that shine and glitter. So there are, what I want to say, let me count them, 3, 6, 9, 12 colors. Is that right? No, that can't be right. No, it's not right. 3, 6, 9, 10 colors.
10 plus the 3 from before.
Right. That's what I'm getting myself confused with. And what is really beautiful about these is that they have color both on white and black. Like you can see on my black pieces of paper there that there is a discernible color on the actual black paper, because sometimes you don't get that. Sometimes it disappears, but it also maintains a hue. So there's a pink hue for the pink color. There's a green hue for the green color. Blue, silver, gold, copper, and then we have bronze, and we have a fool's gold. Like these colors translate from white to black, which is something that I didn't find was really happening. And I'll just jump to my samples here. when using interference. Interference was sort of you get this on the white side and you get that on the black side. So it wasn't a transfer the exact same color. So if I could give you just some examples. So these are the metallics. And as you can see, you have the yellow metallic-y shine with the yellow on white, and purple metallic-y shine with the purple on white, and both of them are metallic-y shiny, and they're not overly sort of metally. Like they're just like that really nice sort of um, gentle glitter to them, gentle shimmer to them. And this is the interference. And the interference is interesting because you have this, for instance, with the milk chocolate rose, you have the milk chocolatey color on this side, and you have the rose color on that side. So you're not transferring the same color from the black to from the white to the black. You're getting something completely different, and it shows very clearly here. You still get a bit of the, I should go back to this one. You still get a bit of the rosy shimmer on top of the milk chocolate color. And here you still get a bit of the blue shimmer, but it's more of a burgundy color with a blue shimmer. So when it transfers from white to dark, it's actually two different colors. And that might be okay if that's what you're looking for. But if I'm going for blue, I really like the fact that I'm getting it on no matter what paper I go for. And I'm actually not too I'm liking the interference too now, which I wasn't thinking I liked before, because it kind of complements and works with this whole metallic thing. So if I can show you a dark and a dark here, you can see the difference in the play. So you got the burgundy color here with the blue hue and the blue, and then you have purple across both sides with the shimmer on both sides. So that's kind of the basic difference between the inks. The other thing that I noticed with the interference versus the metallic is when you work the interference ink to blend the two colors together, you don't really get a blend of a third color. What happens is the shimmer moves off of one of the colors, and it creates this sort of opaque overlay, which is an interesting thing, and it has its own look to it. And that might be a look that you want for certain projects. But the thing I like about the metallics is that you take your yellow and you take your blue and you get yourself a nice green in the middle there. And it's all shimmery. So I'm hoping you can see that green that's coming in the center there. So the metallics blend really well, just like regular inks with a metallic hue or shimmer to them. Now, as far as stamping, because stamping has always been an issue, especially around the interference inks, I think that it wasn't really clear initially when interference were introduced that they don't really stamp too well. So here I have the warm chestnut, which is this one here, and it's stamped, but the flat areas where normally ink would sit, so you can see like a written word, it kind of goes bubbly. And the metallic spreads apart, especially on the dark. You'll see it more on the dark. And if it's a light color, you don't even see it. It just kind of disappears into the card. You can't even, you see the odd little hit of sparkle, and that's it. So this is the same in white. So this is supposed to be showing up here with a bit of a hue to it, but it's non-existent. And here also, when you're doing it on white, you're losing the actual shimmer. The shimmer tends to sit and stick to the acrylic. So that's the interference ink. I had much better luck with the metallic. So I've got the yellow shimmery and the purple shimmery here. Um, it is still like in the hello part where there's a flat area of stamp. It is still a little bit pucky. You can see little puck marks. It's a little better on the white, but you do lose the metallic on the white. So with both the interference and the metallic, the glitter part of it, the shimmer part of it, disappears when you use it on white for some reason, and it is definitely much more successful on with the metallic than the interference on black. So there's a couple of things to think about. I also did some painting, and they actually both paint very well and layer very well. So that was interesting. And because I'm just mixing water and I'm not burnishing anything, I'm just using a brush to lay it down, it also maintains the shimmer. So you still have the shimmer in both paints. Now, of course, because you're watering it down, you do lose some of the metallic-y in the metallic, but it doesn't seem to affect the interference as much. So if you're going to be painting with shimmer, you might want to think more about painting with the interference than painting with the metallic, but remembering that in the interference, you're going to get only one of the two colors that come through on that interference ink. So in this case, I'm only getting the purple. Okay. So that's painting. Painting was interesting. Oh, that's all my samples. I wanted to show you a technique using both sets of ink. Sorry, I'm just pulling this out, trying to get it in. Lisa Horton, in the trade show I was in, she introduced Year in Bloom, which is a monthly, what's the word I'm looking for? Embossing folder. So this one is daisies, and that's the one I'm going to use tonight. And it's the July embossing folder. And I was really thrilled with these embossing folders. She is very heavy on the florals. She likes to do a lot of florals. She does do other things, but her florals are fantastic. So if you can imagine that the lighter parts, oops, let me take that off for you. The lighter parts are what is being embossed. That's the raised section. These are quite beautiful. Helps if you can see that one just on itself. And I was able to play with these a little bit, and they're beautiful multi-dimensional, three-dimensional embossing folders. And they need one pass, and your standard platform works perfectly with them. And they come in this pretty little box to keep them all together.
Kris, if I can just interrupt for a second,
sure.
Just to clarify that, yes, it is a box set that has 12 different embossing folders. Yep. With one flower or one set or a folder that represents each month of the year. So we do have those up on pre-sale on the website. I will put the link into the comments. They haven't arrived quite yet, but they are on their way. So if anyone is interested in those sets, we can hook you up.
Yeah. So let me show you what when it's a basic technique, and I'm going to do it in black, and I'm going to off print in white because both the inks will off print. One does it a little better than the other. And I think it's more to do with the fact that it's a denser color. So let me see. Let me get, daisies are white, but let's make them Love Struck for tonight. So I'm basically going to go in and I'm going to find the surface that gives me the background. So that's the top part of the surface that gives me the background, because I want to keep those daisies white and I want the background to be pink. And I'm just going to quickly get that ready. I'm just going to quickly go in and swipe my pad over top. And I could go in and maybe add yellow where there with a pen, where there is stamens in the daisy, but for just demo purposes, I'm going to do it this way. And I only need one plate, not two. So it's your standard sandwich. And I always tilt them a little bit. If you've taken my embossing classes, you know, I encourage you to tilt them a little bit. All right. Now, if I wasn't spraying ink in here, I would wet the surface of the plate just to make sure it doesn't cut in. But look how deep, and you don't see any cutting. And the color, the shimmer, is in the background, so it's pink shimmer. Now, if I were to go over the top with some silver to get those stamens, let me find my silver. Oops, bottom here. I could just go in and highlight the stamens. Whoops. I would do this with a blender brush, not the tip that I'm using right now. But do you see how you could build different layers of color using the background being one color and the foreground being a multitude of different colors? Let's try I'm going to spray this now with water because I want to get that leftover ink. Don't waste anything. Oops, I just locked it. And it is water reactive, which is lovely. And I'll show you an example of that. In my samples. Oh, sorry, I'm doing this off camera because I don't think you need to watch me do it. But all right. So the amount of color that you use, the amount of, not just color, but amount of water that you use will determine how much of this you color. And I'm going to get that silver because I just want to lightly brush over the surface in both directions. And this is what elevates your embossing, is that extra little bit of what you do to your pieces. So now the background shimmers with the leftover ink, and the foreground is silvery shimmery. So you can see there's it works like any other ink in playing around with techniques. It's a little harder to see the pink here in the background because if you look at our sample, it is a paler color. If I went to something like blue, it would stand out more. So that's using the metallic inks. Let's use a shimmer ink. I'm just going to, sorry, I forgot my wet wipes. But they're never far away. I'm just going to wipe this down, and then we're going to do it with an interference ink so you can see why you might use one ink versus the other ink when you're doing different techniques. And they clean up really nicely. The one thing you got to be careful about with doing any kind of technique is using black. Black ink in your folders is kind of a difficult thing to use because it will stain your folders depending on what black ink you have. And I use Memento, and I have found that as long as I wipe it down right after I've used it on my embossing folder, as long as I wipe it down right away, it tends to work nicely. All right, so I want the background. So I'm going to do what I did. And we're going to do this. You want to get a nice coat on there. And I need my white. Oh, we're doing black first. Have to figure out which side to put it on. And our sandwich, tilting it slightly to the side. So there is our background with the interference ink. So there's no color at all. It's just all the glitter, which is the blue or the purpley color that it works into on black. So I don't know if that would make you disappointed if you weren't aware that that was going to happen. And I'll just do a little bit of silver work on there. That's titanium. So we have the samples that are similar. Oh, there it is. Just go in and touch the surface. I won't do them all, but just to give you an idea of how you can bring things up a notch. So that's the black interference. And let's just compare it to the black metallic. And to be honest, I'm seeing more pink than I'm seeing on the camera. So the camera really isn't showing as much color as there is. And this is quite, it stands out quite a bit, if that's what you want. All right, now we're going to spray this and do it on white. And there we have the color now without the blue. A little bit of the blue has come up. So we have the color now. And let me just put that silver overlay. Now, granted, we have to remember that they are two different colors. One I'm using a pink and the other one is more of a burgundy-ish color. But it gives you the idea. So there it is there with the silver on it. So these are the interference and the metallics. Now, there are hundreds of different types of things you can do with metallics. So just to start off, I did smooshing with metallics, and in the background here you can see I've got my silver, I've got my hot copper, and I've got my gold. Everything is in there, smooshed on a piece of black paper, and it works the same. Whatever was left on my mat, I smooshed onto a white paper, and you again still have that silver and the copper and the gold all in the same pieces, but the looks are so totally different. This is very subtle and this is more aggressive looking. Just to talk about the flowers, this is just straight color using a blending brush. So I blended straight, what is this color? Love Struck on the outsides, ultraviolet on the inside. Oh, actually, I didn't have ultraviolet at that point. I used blue on the inside, which made a purple. And then I used copper in the center. And on the leaf, I used Mojito. And that was white cardstock that I applied that to. So the colors are quite vibrant. On this one, I blended the colors. So I used the same colors, except I used blue with the stem. So I used Mojito and the blue color, which is Coastline. So these three colors are what I used. So blue and Mojito were the stem, and I used the copper and the pink and blended the top half. So you can see that they blend really, really well. And this was, I went in and colored specific areas with pink, and then I colored specific areas with the green, and then I went and did, so I printed it, and then I sprayed down the excess and printed again, and that's both on white cardstock. And then this one was the same as this one, but on black cardstock. So different look altogether. And I added some copper on these little dots, so you can see.
I really like how soft you're able to get those blends.
I know.
They're vibrant, but still have that softness that I would not expect from a pigment or from a metallic ink.
That's right. And I think it's because it's pigment based that it's creamier. It gives you that creamier blend, right? It doesn't give you that etchy sketchy blend. I found it quite easy to blend the colors together. They didn't have any sketchy marks or so I think I said everything about this one. And this is a blending of the blue and the green together, kind of like bokeh circles. Very simple little card. You just put a sentiment on and out it goes. And this one was really fun to do. This one I did the copper background first. So you can see the copper background first. And then I went back and colored in just mamby-pamby with the blue and the pink and the green. Well, the green I focused on the leaves, but the blue and the pink, I did mamby-pamby on the petals and ran it through again. The nice thing about her, most 3Ds will do it, is you can settle the paper back into the grooves so that you can run it through a second time. So this was a really beautiful one to do. And believe it or not, I had enough ink on there to create this. So look at the differences between those, like style-wise, it's more intense, more sort of graphic-y. And then this one is so subtle and almost verging on pastels and antique lace, it reminds me of for some reason. Makes me think of that era. So very different, but both from the same ink on the one plate. And then this was a fun one to do. So I did this in two different colors, focused my ink, my pink into the flower part, and then I used the green in the green part. So just a two color painting. This one's a little different. I did this on white mat, but I first did a run of black to get the background black, and then I painted in the blue and the green just randomly and ran it through. You can see these folders are just gorgeous. And this one I did quite a few times because I really liked it. So here, oh boy, let me do these guys first because they're simple. So these guys are just simple. All I did was I took I used black paper for all of them. I think, yes, I used black paper for all of them. And I just took the silver ink and went over top, and that's it. And look how gorgeous they are. And then this one, I went over with silver, and then I added blue. So you can see the blue popping out there. These guys, which one was that for? That was for that. So this one was copper and green and pink. So I did copper, green, and pink, and I focused the pink on the flowers, the green on the leaves, and the copper in the background. And then I went over it afterwards with white. And look at how stunning that is. It gives it that sort of chalky surface layer that just kind of screams vintage, you know? And then I did the same thing here with different colors, copper and green. And this time I didn't focus in on leaves or flowers. I just did random all over the top. And when it was done, then I went over the surface with a white pad again. And this is the off coloring. I don't know. It doesn't show so beautifully, but it's gorgeous in maybe if I turn this light off. You have coppers and you have sparkle and you've got greens in there. Like it's pretty, like it's just pretty. So this is the first run with white on top, and this is on a white cardstock. So you can see the versatility, not only in her new set of embossing folders, but in the inks themselves. Like, I mean, they are just beautiful inks to work with. And like I said, I wouldn't have said that I would go out and buy this many metallics, but look at these colors. How can you say no? Like, look at how vibrant they are on white, and then they still hold their power. This is the only one I find, the pink. You really have to load the pink to get a pink color, but the green stands up. All the other colors are just fine. It's just this pink I find is a bit light, and unfortunately, that's what I did a lot of my samples with. So, but I hope you can imagine how much you would see with these other colors and with that loaded heavily. So that's pretty much it. My brain is busting. I've got some ideas that Lisa introduced us to, and then while I was in class with her and playing around like we all do, I've come up with some more ideas. So we'll see how I end up sharing those, but I think they're pretty spectacular. Anyway, that is it for me. I hope that I've been able to give you an idea of why you would want these inks, first of all, at all, and then why you might even add them into your interference set of inks because of the differences between what they do. And please feel free to contact me, share what you're working on and what you're using these inks for if you do dive in, and I'm good to go.
Well, thank you, Kris, for sharing that. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
What's your favorite color?
You can't do that to me. Oh, you know what? I just got these ones today. I've been looking at these, and I know what my favorite is on this side, but I'm seeing so many new ones today. Okay, on the spot, on the spot, on the spot. The one I like that works, I think, the best with both black and white is the ultraviolet.
Very nice.
That to me just pops. And I wasn't sure how purple that was going to be, but oh my God, that is so purple.
Well,
I want
Ellen
to
agrees
lick
with
it.
you. Ellen agrees with you.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure
folks who are out
Darlene
there,
agrees with me too.
I'm sure
Oh,
she would as well.
I forgot to tell you folks, one more thing to add. These are water reactive. So any techniques you use with distress water reactive inks, you can use with these too. Sorry. That's important.
So many possibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, Darlene says her pick is purple as well.
Yeah. I
I,
gotta
of
say.
course, lean to the green,
Oh,
or
there's two
that
beautiful ones.
there's that turquoisey one as well. But
Yeah. Yep.
well,
And the
thank you, Kris.
pumpkin is beautiful. Look at the pumpkin. It's like goldy pumpkin.
It's like choosing a child, right?
Yeah, I know. You can't
Yeah.
have a favorite.
Okay, I won't put you on the spot any longer. Thank you so much for sharing all those samples and tips and tricks and that kind of thing. And we're getting a lot of really positive comments in the chat
Oh, good.
about how much people are intrigued by and impressed by the embossing folders.
Oh
So
gosh, yeah.
we do have that year in blooms, but I also know that buying 12 embossing folders at one time might be a bit much. So Kris, you and I can look maybe next week at some of the other Lisa Horton folders as options as well, and we'll see if we can bring in a selection for you folks to choose
Yeah.
from, because
I have to tell you, I'm not a flower person, but I'm just in love with these folders. They're just so real.
that's awesome. Ellen says we can always count on you for inky things. So maybe you need a new nickname on your other sleeve on your sweater, that you are the inky master.
Ink Master.
There you go. All right.
And oh, sorry. Go
So
ahead.
much for no. I was just going to say thank you for tuning in, everyone. Did you have any last things you wanted to say, Kris?
No, I didn't. I was just going to be cheeky.
Oh, okay. And wishing everyone a wonderful week. Take care, everyone.
Bye.